from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Niket Karunaratne.
And I'm Kasini Balachandra. Here are your top stories for tonight.
Sri Lanka says a deal has been reached with Russia to build a nuclear power plant. A special surgery conducted at the Disoisa Maternity Hospital. Teacher appointments awarded for 7,342 National Education Diploma holders. A new passenger terminal at the Kankasanturai harbour was vested with the public. The Election Commission says nominations called for local government polls cannot be withdrawn through a parliamentary resolution. Cyclone Biparjoy makes landfall, bringing heavy rainfall to India and Pakistan.
On to those and other stories in detail now. Sri Lankan ambassador in Russia, Janita Abevikramalyanage, says a deal has been reached with the Russian nuclear giant Rosatom to build a nuclear power plant.
She made these remarks in an interview with the Sputnik news agency on the sidelines of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum recently.
There is a proposal and there is a approval to follow the procedures from Sri Lankan cabinet, and also International Atomic Energy Agency is also now working on it, and they have set up certain groups, working groups, and Rosatom has initiated, or Rosatom has set up 4 working groups in 4 different areas. So yes, we have to go to it, and we will go for the nuclear power plant. Yes, there are options actually. 300 megawatts, 2 plants. Plants means not plants, but the sources, something like that, and also 2 sources, each 300 megawatts.
A special life-saving surgery was reported from Disoisa Maternity Hospital today.
The surgeons at the maternity hospital were pushed to their limit in saving the lives of a mother and a baby girl after performing a very rare and highly complex surgery.
The national ceremony for awarding teacher appointments to National Education Diploma holders was held today. The event, which was held with the participation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, was held at the Temple Trees this morning. Teacher appointments were awarded for National Education Diploma holders of the 2018-2022 academic year. President Wickremesinghe, who presided over the ceremony, awarded 1,729 teacher appointments for national schools and 626 appointments for the Western Province. Similar appointments were also made for other 8 provinces, resulting in 7,342 National Education Diploma holders receiving appointments on this day. Addressing the ceremony, the President emphasized the government's commitment to establishing an education system that extends beyond the year 2050. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, speaking at the event, recognized that human resources are vital for the country's economic development and highlighted the teachers' responsibility in preparing the future workforce. President Wickremesinghe stressed the need to develop the export economy and make necessary changes to the education system to prevent future economic crises despite the current economic stability in the country. He said that if they are providing 13 years of education, then it is the duty of the government to ensure that the examinations are conducted accordingly. Currently, the exam dates fluctuate, with A-level examinations taking place in different months from January to December. Therefore, it is crucial that a legislation is passed mandating the A-level examination to be held in December. This way, the examination department bears the primary responsibility of conducting examinations within the specified time frame. The President expressed his commitment to promoting English as a national language. Consequently, he said that the government is working towards establishing state universities, national universities and non-state universities to accommodate the increasing demand. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that he is bound by a profound responsibility and duty to contribute the educational training and knowledge he has acquired towards the development of the country. He said that it is his role to fulfill the hopes of the new generation and nurture them with new knowledge, creating a future generation equipped with the necessary tools for success. He said that there is a time where both responsibility and duty play a vital role in the education sector. Addressing the gathering, Minister Susil Premajan said that the primary objective of this program was to ensure that schools are staffed with trained and qualified teachers. As part of ongoing efforts, proposals are being implemented to transform the existing 3-year courses offered by 19 faculties of education into 4-year programs that produce graduates instead of diploma holders. Additionally, he said that those who have completed their training as diploma holders are now provided with the opportunity to further their qualifications up to the level of graduation through institutions such as the National Institute of Education. The Kankasantore harbour was declared open for general operations today. The facility expansion was completed at a cost of 450 million rupees. The harbour was built with a view to making way for a passenger ferry service between India and Sri Lanka. The opening ceremony was held with the participation of Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva. The expansion was carried out by the Ports Authority of Sri Lanka. The port welcomed the luxury cruise MV Empress, sailed with 80 passengers. The present government decided to convert the Kankasantore harbour into a tourist port under the passenger ferry service between India and Sri Lanka. Accordingly, measures have been taken jointly by the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation and Ports Authority of Sri Lanka to bring down luxury cruisers and passenger ferry ships from India once a week. With the completion of the expansion project, the harbour now has the capacity to accommodate 200 passengers at the terminal.
Health Minister has issued a Gazette notification reducing the prices of 66 medicines by 16%. The price revisions will come into effect from June 26th. Meanwhile, the All Ceylon Private Pharmacy Owners Association said that the pharmaceutical companies should take necessary steps to mention the new prices on the existing pharmaceutical stocks in order to extend the benefit of the price drop to consumers. Media Secretary of the All Ceylon Private Pharmacy Owners Association, Siddharth Suranga, said that the prices can only be reduced if the companies amend the prices before the 26th of this month on the existing stocks of drugs which were purchased at higher rates. He also said that if the Ministry of Health and the National Medicines Regulatory Authority intervenes in this process, they can give the price benefits. The Government Medical Officers Association expressed their appreciation over the price drop on medicines. Media Secretary of the Government Medical Officers Association, Dr. Chamil Vijay Singh, has said that they identified the decision to reduce prices as a positive indication. Although he said that the reduction has been done only on 60 drugs and he questioned the remaining 1,250.
Chairman of the Election Commission, Attorney at Law Nimalji Punchiheva, says the nominations called for the local government polls cannot be revoked through a parliamentary resolution. He briefed in this regard during a media conference held today. Chairman of the Election Commission, Attorney at Law Nimalji Punchiheva, said that as per the law, nominations of a local government poll can be revoked through two factors. He said that nominations can be revoked by presenting a draft bill and passing it in the parliament following a judicial procedure. Secondly, he said that the nominations can be revoked based on the findings of the delimitation committee. He pointed out that the president should gazette the delimitation committee. Then he added that the subject minister should appoint a review committee after releasing a gazette over the various opinions and views on the delimitation committee, which will lead to the imposition of delimitations. He said that after releasing a gazette over the report of the review committee, and if there are changes to the limitations, then fresh elections should be called. Hence, fresh nominations should also be called up.
State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya says that setting aside $80 million for the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation to purchase fuel had an impact on the value of the Sri Lanka rupee against the US dollar. He made these remarks while speaking to the media today. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya said that the growth in the influx of US dollars to the country and import restrictions increased the value of the Sri Lanka rupee against the US dollar. However, he said that the Petroleum Corporation serviced around $75 to $80 million from the central bank and the market to purchase fuel. He also said that certain entities invest on US dollars and began to purchase US dollars in the market, anticipating a significant increase in the dollar rate. He pointed out that such activities impacted the sudden depreciation of the rupee against the US dollars.
Public symposium on freedom of expression and protection of innocent victims in cyberspace was held yesterday in Colombo. The symposium was organized by Bar Association of Sri Lanka.
Freedom of expression must be given to all, no restriction. But self-regulations are very, very important. Rather than bringing new acts, rather than bringing new laws, do a justice for vulnerable group, children and women in Sri Lanka. It must be apolitical.
It is because of this freedom that is given for people to express freely that development in every area will happen. Other side of the coin is that we are a little bit hesitant when there's some kind of a control. We are dabbling with the fact that the new laws need to be made, and we also don't know that there are laws already covering the areas that you need to curtail freedom of speech. Something similar to the DMCA Act laws that we are discussing now, if we can bring in, I think that will suffice.
We know that when new legislation is introduced, there is a tendency of abuse of that legislation. A new law must not rushed into. No doubt there has to be a regulatory framework, but ensure that it is reasonable, it is not abused, and does not lead innocent people having to spend years or months in remand prison.
The Bar Association contributes to the development of comprehensive legal framework that safeguards the freedom of expression online and holds perpetrators of cybercrimes accountable. It is our duty to support towards the creating a safe and inclusive digital environment where freedom of expression can thrive without fear of victimization.
A special workshop marking the 23rd anniversary of the Nuga Sevena program of the national television has been organized.
Accordingly, the workshop will be held tomorrow at the Lavanga Hotel in Hikkaduwa from 8:30 am onwards.
වසර 23ක අභිමානවත් සැමරුම ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය කාන්තාවන් හා අත්වැල් බැඳ ගනිමින් උත්කර්ෂවත් ලෙස පැවැත්වීමට නුගසෙවන අපි සූදානම්. නුගසෙවන වැඩමුළු මාලාවේ තවත් වැඩසටහනක්
ජූනි 17 වන සෙනසුරාදා දින උදේ 8:30ට එක්කඩුව ලවන්ගා හෝටලේදී. අත්කම් වෛද්‍ය සාකච්ඡා රූපලාවන්‍ය සූපවේදයේ ඇතුළු විශේෂාංග රසක් සමගින්
වැඩමුළුව සඳහා ඇතුළුවීම නොමිලේ.
More stories on the other side of this break.
Prima Kotomi Fantamai.
Welcome back, and in more local stories, President Ranil Wickremesinghe instructed to complete the repair work pertaining to Orugodavatta Ambatale Road in 3 months.
The President issued these instructions during a progress review discussion of the project held at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. The President emphasized the need for a thorough examination of the issues causing delays in the project and urged the authorities to promptly address these problems. The project, which commenced in January 2016, was originally scheduled for completion in 2020. Implemented by the Road Development Authority with foreign aid, the entire road section spans 7.7 kilometers. However, due to challenges faced by the contractor company, issues related to compensating residents for relocation, complications arising from water pipes along the road, and various other general problems, the project experienced significant delays. The President engaged in an extensive discussion regarding the inability to meet the stipulated deadline.
President Secretary Samaneka Naika, in a letter, has explained archaeologist Venerable Dr. Ellavala Medananda Thera that no decision to transfer government lands belonging to the Kurundi Viharaya to any other party. A clarifying letter was sent in response to Venerable Dr. Medananda Thera's letter over the government lands associated with the Viharaya. The letter was directed on the instructions of the President. During a discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat on the 8th of June, the President addressed the issue of government lands associated with the Kurundi Viharaya. In response to this, archaeologist Venerable Dr. Ellavala Medananda Thera expressed his concerns in a letter to the President. In his letter, the Venerable Thera conveyed that lands not belonging to the Kurundi Viharaya were being instructed to be transferred to the public, despite the presence of scattered ruins of Buddhist monasteries in various locations around the temple. He argued that it would be inappropriate to distribute these lands and highlighted instances where the acquisition of land had been done through coercion. Consequently, he asserted that the ownership of these lands should not be transferred. The letter sent by President Secretary Samaneka Naika in response emphasized that Kurundi Viharaya holds significant archaeological value for Sri Lankans and reassured that no decision had been made to transfer government lands associated with the temple to any other party. Furthermore, the letter addressed the confusion created by media reports which erroneously mixed up discussions regarding the ruins of Kurundi Viharaya and the Thiri area. It stated that an investigation had been initiated concerning certain paddy lands surrounding Kurundi Viharaya and a report would be submitted to the District Secretary of Mullaitiyu. The Director General of Archaeology was also notified about this through the President Secretary's letter. Additionally, the government's commitment to identifying and safeguarding sites and lands of archaeological significance under the jurisdiction of the District Secretary was reiterated.
Now, the General Secretary of the United National Party, Palitharange Bandara, says that the only state leader in the world to rebuild a collapsed nation within a period of 1 year is in Sri Lanka.
He made these remarks during a meeting held in Anuradhapura. The United National Party Kakiravi electorate meeting in Anuradhapura was held with the participation of Party General Secretary Palitharange Bandara. The meeting was organized by electorate organizer S.B. Abe Singha. General Secretary of the United National Party Palitharange Bandara said that there was a massive struggle in the country resulting in a drastic decline in the country's economy. He said that the opposition, without taking of the responsibility, ignored their duty to the nation completely. He emphasized that a single man undertook this responsibility and now he has again created a better setting for the public. He further said that July 20th will mark the 1-year anniversary of the incumbent president undertaking the responsibility of the country.
Former parliamentarian Sunil Handunnetti says that even if his party comes to power, they too will have to look for solutions to increase government revenue. He pointed out that the only solution to improve income generation is to eradicate corruption and mismanagement. National People's Power member Sunil Handunnetti made these remarks during a conference held in Moratuwa yesterday. Former parliamentarian Sunil Handunnetti said even though it seems that corruption has subdued, in actuality those who are in power have nothing to gain out of the present situation. He said that the current government has no tangible income at present. He pointed out that one of the conditions of the International Monetary Fund is to improve the government revenue. Accordingly, the government is expecting to improve its revenue by increasing taxes. He said that even if his party comes to power, then they too have to find solutions for this crisis. He pointed out that their solution for this crisis is to eradicate corruption and mismanagement.
Chief Sanganayak of France, Venerable Dr. Paravahara Chandraratana Thera, along with Sri Lankans residing in the country, have extended assistance to award scholarships for 100 Colombo University students with economic challenges. Accordingly, each student will receive 5,000 rupees every month. The scholarship has been extended for a period of 4 years. The Vice-Chancellor of the university mentioned that around 400 students in the university with 16,000 studentship require urgent financial assistance. Steps have been taken to establish a scholarship fund for the economically challenged students, and many stakeholders have come forward to extend their supportive hand for this initiative. Devotees who are engaged in a Padayatra for the annual Asala Perahara of the Ruhunu Kataragama Mahadevalaya are approaching the Kataragama sacred site through the Yala National Park.
Another group of devotees arriving from the highlands on foot has passed the Buttala area, according to the correspondence. A group of Hindu devotees from Hatton, Palavakale and Nuwara areas commenced their journey to the Kataragama sacred site on foot at the beginning of this week. Reports have indicated that each group consists of nearly 30 devotees. They have commenced this journey on foot following a month of fasting. Meanwhile, devotees heading to Kataragama, sacred site from the northern and eastern parts of the country on foot, have passed the Okanda entrance of the Kumana National Park several days ago. The entrance was officially opened by Governor of the Eastern Province, Senthil Tondaman. Reports have indicated that a large group of devotees have entered the Yala National Park. The first group of devotees journeying on foot to Kataragama is expected to reach the site in the next couple of days. And that's all the local news. Stay tuned for foreign news after this break.
Prima Kotami Fantamai.
Welcome back, and taking a look at your foreign news tonight. At least 2 people have been killed and 22 injured after cyclone Biparjoy made landfall in western India near the Pakistan border. The storm weakened after hitting the Gujarat state coast last night, but is still moving across the state, bringing strong winds and rains. It has uprooted trees, ripped out electricity poles and damaged roads in some districts. Authorities have said that the full extent of the damages is still yet known. No other cyclone-related deaths have been reported by Indian officials. Pakistan has also not reported any casualties, but more than 80,000 people have been displaced from their homes along the coastal belt in Sindh. More than 170,000 people in the 2 countries were evacuated from low-lying regions before the arrival of the cyclone. Makeshift shelters were also set up in school auditoriums and other government buildings in both countries. Authorities say heavy rainfall is expected to continue in the neighbouring Rajasthan state the next 2 days as the cyclone moves towards the northwest.
At least 2 explosions rocked Kiev today, and air raid sirens blared as African leaders began a peace mission hoping to mediate between Ukraine and Russia. The African delegation, which includes leaders from South Africa, Senegal, the Comoros and Egypt, was expected to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and then hold talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg tomorrow. The group has agreed to engage with Zelensky and Putin on a ceasefire and lasting peace. The leaders had begun their visit with a trip to Bucha, near Kiev, which is one of the several places where Ukraine says Russian troops committed large-scale atrocities following their full-scale invasion in February of 2022. Russia denies the allegations.
The European Central Bank yesterday announced a new interest rate increase of 25 basis points, continuing its rate hike spree aimed at curbing inflation. As Eurozone inflation remains well above the target set by the European Central Bank after nearly a year of interest rate hikes, economic experts have pointed out that the rate increases could backfire and threaten Europe's economic growth and financial stability. The interest rates on the main refinancing operations, the marginal lending facility and the deposit facility will now be 4%, 4.25% and 3.5% respectively. The bank has now raised its rates for the 8th time in a row. The deposit interest rate has been pushed up to its second highest level in the ECB's history, close to the historic high of 3.75%, which was last seen in October 2000. According to its June projections, the central bank expects headline inflation to an average of 5.4% in 2023, 3% in 2024 and 2.2% in 2025.
The world's biggest international kite festival takes place under unique circumstances on Fanø on the west coast of Denmark. A steady wind from the west keeps up to 20,000 kites in the air at this time of the year. Fanø is situated in the North Sea, which exposes it to strong and consistent winds from the west, passing the island's flat terrain and dunes, allowing for uninterrupted airflow.
Lotus flowers in full bloom are drawing droves of tourists to a village in southwest China's Sichuan province to not only appreciate their beauty, but also to enjoy the delicacies made from their blossoms, roots and stems. The lotus farming industry in Swingyang village in Sichuan's Lushu city dates back hundreds of years. Today the village is home to roughly 266.7 hectares of the plants. With the lotus flowers now in their prime, throngs of tourists are flocking to the region to enjoy the sight and taste of the beautiful flowers. Local restaurants have witnessed a surge in customers eager to try an array of dishes made with lotus flowers, roots and other parts of the plant. Visitors, meanwhile, say both the food and landscape are reasons to visit.
Prima Katami Fantamai.
And on sports news for tonight, Sri Lanka managed to win the second warm-up match in the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifier. Sri Lanka defeated the United States in the second warm-up match by 198 runs.
The match was played in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. Batting first, Sri Lanka scored 392 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in their innings. Dimuth Naratna scored 111 runs while Kusal Mendis scored 105. Charit Asalanka was not out at 62 while Dasun Shanaka was not out at 61. In response, the United States only managed to gather 194 runs in 33 overs. Mona Patel scored 62 runs for America. Matesh Patirana picked up 4 wickets while Vanidu Hasranga and Kasun Rajitha shared 2 wickets each. The ICC Cricket World Cup qualifier will begin on the 18th of June and the first match for Sri Lanka is against UAE on the 19th.
Prima Katami Fantamai.
And that's all the news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.